Hey there, everyone. This is Mystic Fish, and welcome to episode 67 of our Factorio series, where we are making an upgradable base on our way to a mega base here. Last episode, we upgraded all of our science builds to tier 2. Unexpectedly, space science still seemed to be a bottleneck even after we upgraded it. And I don't know, it bugged me a little bit, so I decided to look into it. And basically, we're not getting enough petroleum gas through here, despite having lots of pumps and things like that. So I decided to go back and check my math. And when I actually did the advanced oil processing in the factory planner, I'm supposed to have 15 refineries, 6 heavy cracking, 7 light oil cracking. I don't know where I got this stuff, to be honest. We are short a number of refineries here. We're short some heavy oil cracking. We actually have enough light oil cracking. So I'm going to see if we can figure out how to massage this into something that will be what we want. Let's see. Let's just make sure there's enough room for beacons at the top here. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we need 8 of these. 1. Ooh, that didn't work. Okay, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, let's see. These need to go here like this. Now, do I even need this? This is a fuel line for smelting. It's not even connected. All right, let's get rid of this. That'll give us a little more room. We'll go back to here, that's fine. Okay, then I want to actually move all of this stuff. I'll put it in like the corner over here a little more so we don't run into... Alright, this one and this one. Oh, this stuff is... What is in the way down here? This landfill is in the way. Shrink this guy down. Fortunately, you can landfill around an already placed offshore pump, so that will not disrupt the offshore pump. It will continue pumping even if we put landfill next to it, even though that if the landfill was there first, we wouldn't have been able to put this here, but that is how it goes. We will have to figure out how to connect all this stuff here. Have to find a way to get the crude oil up here. Which I wish there was a way to turn the quarter, but the beacons are kind of in the way for us. There's not a lot of extra room here. I mean, I guess I can duplicate this thing, right? Seems like it. Okay. So then, in that case, we want all of these beacons down here as well. Okay. Now, let's see if we can get water. Let's see, do I have an offshore pump? Can I stick this over here somewhere? Sure. All right, so then the water will come here. This is probably fine to do this way. All right, that gets the water in. Then we are also going to need to get that's not quite there. Actually, I literally want to copy that. Okay, now we need to get green wires. Oh, I guess I better come down here. Okay, that's our oil. Then, we don't need that guy. Do we need this guy? No. But I think we can come down here. Okay, that gets our heavy oil output. All right, I need wires. We want to go from here to here to here. Come here. Okay. All right, good. That's hooked up. Water's hooked up. We just don't have any place for the output. Alright, so we need to get, I guess we can pump. Alright, that's the light oil, and then, oof, I have to get these guys. Alright, that guy, and that guy, and that guy. Need more landfill here. Can't quite get that one in there. You. All right. That's fine. I'll have to do something funky. Right. Good. Now we need to all right. That is the replacement refineries, and then we said we are short 3 of these guys, right? to figure out how to wire this stuff in. Okay. All right, heavy oil to be cracked is right here. Let's get this out of the way. That's okay to stay there. This? Oh, it's ugly. But it's going to work. Okay. I need water. Is there a lot of water in here? Sure. Right, and then I need the light oil to come back and join this. And then I need to get electricity back. Okay. Oh, now we're pumping a lot out of here. Okay. How's that doing for us? All right, we're getting a lot more. A lot more of these plastic chem plants are now active. Oh, in fact, all of them are now active. That seems much better. All right. We still keeping up? Whoa. We really backed up here. All right, light oil's coming down. Heavy oil's coming down. Okay, I think this is going to work itself out. All right. Let's let that simmer for a while, and let's see what that does for our science output. And this will take a while to prime its way through here, but I'm optimistic about this. I think it turns out that like doing the math right and getting the right number of refineries, turns out that's useful. All right, stay tuned. Let's see what happens. I'll be back with an update. Okay, that definitely did the trick. So this is now working out okay. I did adjust the limits here. There's so many refineries, and this build is so big that needed sort of a little extra room here. So I set the cutoff here at anything below 5,000, so that there's time for this to kick in before this tank completely empties. And then the cracking now engages if there's over 10,000. So we should be hovering between hopefully 5 and 10,000 on the heavy and light oil, and this should be staying above 0 so that we can pump this stuff out of here. But made a dramatic difference. If we come up, actually look at you can see it here at the rocket silos. We're just got a nice stream of rocket parts coming in here, and it works out that we have a pretty good stream generally that's happening here. And in fact, if we take a look at the last 10 minutes of science, we're now producing 900 space science per minute. The consumption is definitely looks higher here, but that's because we had so many of the other sciences buffered up. So sort of consumption is artificially high. But if we come over here to look over here at production, we can see that it looks like yellow science is the current bottleneck, which if we come up and take a look at the labs, we can see that we do get occasional purple science through, but we really don't get much in the way of yellow science at all. And in fact, you can even see it over here, yellow science. Just eyeballing it, seems like it's sort of the least produced. So now time for the final evolution of yellow science, I guess. We're going to come over here. We're going to need to make this all tier 3. This is the easiest upgrade here. And then this all just becomes tier 3 modules. And then we wait for the base to build all that stuff. So we'll be back after that. I really don't think there's anything else to do for this. So this is our first tier 3 science. Hopefully what we're seeing at the end of it, although it'll be hard to tell because I think the other sciences will back up because of the other sciences not being there. But we should, if the calculations are all correct, this should give us a full yellow belt, or sorry, a full half belt, half blue belt of yellow science coming out of here by the time we're done. So let's see how that goes. We will be back once that is finished. Okay, we are back. We've got a nice stream of yellow science coming in now, so that's good. It looks like the next bottleneck is going to be purple science. So same deal. We basically come over here. Is this this needs to be tier 3? Here's the tier 3. We do that guy, and then we do that guy, and then we wait for that to work. I will say I decided, since we have a fair number of modules to wait on, I decided that I would extend the base down here and start chipping away at making another module build over time. So I'll work on that offline. We've already seen it before, so we will just proceed off camera with that, and hopefully that'll help us speed up some of our module building. All right, we are back, And as intended, we are now upgraded to tier 3 modules in the Purple Science build. And we can see it's stacking up that half of blue belt very nicely. As part of that, I have completed building out a second module build, which is good stuff. So this is also upgraded to tier 3. So that should help us with the remaining upgrades. As a result of this, I had to add a whole bunch more outposts. I added a bunch of coal, copper, a couple of stone ones up in this corner. Not that one. Where's the stone that here it is. Yeah, it's like I did a double-headed stone so that I could actually get the full belts. And I believe we are pretty well caught up at this point on delivering everything. The most recent bottleneck was for copper, and it seems like we're in good shape there. So what is next? Let's take a look up here. What are we missing? Well, blue science is not coming back around. And so that is the next bottleneck. That's, I think, no surprise here. So this upgrade is indeed just as easy as the other ones. We're just going to hit this and upgrade that stuff. Looks like there's a few that we'll need to build yet, so we'll go off camera and wait for that stuff to build. I guess the other thing to mention is I've continued expanding the nuclear power plant. I did exhaust all of these. I guess I didn't. I guess I have these here I could go do, but at this point, it was like this body of water was actually closer. So the most recent one, I just grabbed some offshore pumps like this and routed them in over here. And then same thing, we started to, just sort of finding some places to put these offshore pumps to get them working. Power-wise, we're okay. We're creeping in. We've got 2 gigawatts headroom. So we'll have to see how that works. I should also mention we now have 3 builder trains. I decided to build a 3rd builder train just because there's pretty nearly constant attacks on the wall here, and it's not really an issue. They don't really do it. They like barely even kill anything, so it's fine. We're not in any danger really of having them break through. But as you can see, there's a lot of repair that goes on, and so there's actually the builder trains are out delivering repair packs actually fairly often, and so just to make sure that there was always somebody around loading up, I decided to build a 3rd builder train. So that is where we're at. So I guess we're gonna wait for these modules, although we're chugging through them, but we won't wait for that, and I'll just be back in a moment. Okay, we got blue science upgraded now, so that's looking good. Now it's looking like red and green are the current bottleneck. I'm going to assume that's going to include military science as well, so let's go ahead and do this guy. And we'll be back once the bots are finished chewing on that, although it seems that we might have enough in inventory, which is pretty cool. All right, so maybe we'll just wait a minute for all this stuff to come in. That means the last remaining thing to upgrade is going to be, let's see, did we do the tier 3 for the, yeah, we did tier 3 for blue science. Oil processing, so the last science is really going to be space science. Which is, of course, the biggest build. It's going to take the longest time, but hopefully, once we get these in, do we have a bunch of bots coming? Yeah, here they all come. All right, in the meantime, I extended our nuclear power framework slightly north. We're currently at We have 12 gigawatts of capacity. We're using about 9, so that's a good 33% headroom, or 25%, I guess, depending on which way you're looking at it. But yeah, here come all the modules. Okay. So we should, by the time we're done with this, we should be getting full belts of green and red science, which it appears we're doing now. So that is good, and so that leaves us just to upgrade the space science, where we can see, indeed, we have a nice little gap here. So this is it. This is the upgrade. Rocket silos are already done. They're already at tier 3 speed modules and prod modules. So it's really just the main build here. Let's double check. This is all tier 3 now. Yes, and this has all been working okay. So yeah, let's do it. Let's kick off the final. This is I think the final upgrade. So let's do that. That's going to be, yeah, there's a fair amount of stuff to build as a result of that. So fortunately, we've got 2 stacks working on modules. So we will definitely go off camera while we wait for this, and we'll be back. Hey there, everyone. We are back, and the tier 3 upgrade is done. And we are sciencing here, folks. So we now have full half blue belts of all of the sciences streaming in. The labs are nearly all utilized, as we would expect. And in particular, there's really not much left over coming back around. So we really are consuming the right amount of science here and producing the right amount of science. So that is exciting. This was the whole goal. Let's see, a couple things to highlight. Let's see, what did I end up having to do? I don't think I really added much in the way of a new outpost or anything like that. Our steady state electricity is right around 8 gigawatts, which is pretty good. There were a couple of tweaks that I made for, let's see, no, not this one. For space science, I ended up redoing the way that copper was being fed in. And so I have a slightly different version that I have here is, I'm breaking off from sort of the initial belt here, but then I'm taking the second belt to branch off here, the third belt here, fourth, and then fifth, and then rebalancing everything in order to compress things down to the 4 belts, and then sort of continuing with the same overall pattern here, taking a new belt each time, and then compressing everything back down until we deliver everything out here. So that was good stuff there. What else? The other thing is up here. I changed the rocket silo stuff a little bit. So one of the things that I did here was to actually introduce these buffers in here, but more importantly, to branch sort of each of the rocket part components off so that there can be 4 inserters feeding it. In fact, I'm actually even missing one right here. So we need to get that guy in. That means it's probably, no, it's up here. It's fine. And so what that allows for is, especially if we look here, it means that we can have rocket parts buffered up and put them in, sort of catch up, right? Because when the rocket launches, you can't be putting components in, and so this allows us, this buffer here allows us to capture the stuff that's being produced in the meantime, but then to like sort of put it in quickly as it comes out, you know, which we can see here. So like, for example, while the rocket's launching here, right, we're not sticking any components, any ingredients in here, but because we have these buffers, we can sort of catch up again. I did modify the insertion of the satellite, so it's looking here. It only launches when we have less than 4,000 space signs, so we can build up a nice little buffer here, which you can see we just did. I added an additional inserter to pull the results out, just so that we can, or the resulting space science, just so we can unload much quicker than we need to. And then, yeah, that's basically it. And so you can see that because of having these buffers, even though the inserter here can't sort of fill up the entire belt by itself, the entire half belt by itself, because it has to swing, this one can fill in and has plenty of space science available. So that is allowing us to have a nice continuous stream of the science coming in. The only other thing that was challenging was actually purple science, and I think this is because we're, in order to get, like, I think this build here like does almost exactly the 1350 science that we're looking to produce. And in fact, you can even see here that there's a couple of gaps that get left periodically here, just because things don't run continuously, right? Like, so for example, you know, we can see red chips are getting buffered over here, but they get, you know, drained at some later points in the cycle, and so sometimes things just line up and we don't get everything produced. And actually, it's kind of looking like we might be having some problems here. I did sort of rearrange the copper here as well, just to make sure we could get copper in at the appropriate rate. What else? I did find that it was useful to, well, although it seems not to have worked properly, right? So like the problem, right, is that these guys are currently idle, and the issue seems to be one of petroleum gas. I don't know, like I am still trying to figure this out. I've tried to do this plenty of different ways. So like if we come over here, we clearly have petroleum gas in the tank. But I can't seem to pump it through fast enough. And actually, it may be because of this pipe right here. So let's just do a quick experiment. What if we put the pump first? Can we come down this far? I need to line it up with this thing. Although, I guess I can shift it over. Okay, so what I want then is I want to get rid of these guys. I want to get this. So we'll pump it down this way. Move this one over. Okay, let's see if this helps. Because what I was finding is we're producing plenty of petroleum gas. You know, it's backing up here. And we were just not able to pump it through fast enough. So let's see if getting these pumps helps us. We should ideally be draining this most of the time. So maybe pumping directly out will help us. Okay, that drained the tank. Okay, so this maybe this will work better for us. Let's see. The other thing that we run into, and let's see, are things full over here? They're not full out in this area. The other thing I tried to do was, once we get to this point, there's no pumps anymore in this area. The total flow is not very high, so I don't think we need extra pumps. You know, at this point, like the aggregate is like 80 petroleum gas per second. So like fluid transfer wise, we really don't need additional pumps at this point. But what I tried to do is equalize the path distance. So in terms of pipes, so each of these pipes that feed the build, they come together in pairs like this, and then the pairs come together here and here to make sort of, I don't know, two halves. And then the halves come together here to be fed by the single pipe. And so that seems to have done sort of a better job of balancing the petroleum gas across these. So we'll see, maybe this is gonna help us. I'm definitely seeing higher petroleum gas out here than I was seeing previously. And it should be the case that this produces plenty, and we can just sort of, I think this can outproduce actually even what we need. So we may be able to fill that up, and that may solve some of our Purple Science output problems. I find that it is very, as I've been looking and playing with this, it's really all about like, can you get the chem plants making the plastic are actually the bottleneck thing. If you look at the factory plan, it turns out that like I had to get it's 0.95 machines, right? Like these chem plants, even with one speed module, are working pretty close, need to be working pretty close to full time here. So that's really this is really the thing that we need to make sure is fully saturated in order to work. And it seems like this is working better. Actually, it's even filling up out here. So that, I think, might have solved our problem. Okay, cool beans. Okay, so then let's come up here. And it should be over time. We would expect that if this is consistently producing the 1350 Purple Science per minute in aggregate, and really what we're looking for is like, we really should be expecting to see almost all of these working almost all of the time. What are you missing over here? Oh no, you're blocked on output. No, you're missing rails. There you go, now you got rails. Okay. So I think this should be okay. And if we look back at the labs, up here, you know, we did, sorry, I had purple disabled for a little bit, so we have to chew through this backlog of stuff. Fortunately, once all of the gaps in the purple finish showing up, which maybe this is the last gap, after that point, we should be able to, because of the way these are prioritized, we'll chew through the backlog of stuff that's already in the sushi system. It doesn't come through here any faster than 1350 sciences per minute for any of the sciences, and so over time we should get back to mostly eating up most of this stuff. We do have to wait for the labs to sort of resaturate themselves in order to burn this all off, but I think this is working. I am going to, at this point, let's just take a look at trains, stations, any trains backed up here, or stations that are being starved, not for oil. How about for coal? We only have one, but there's a train going to it, so that's okay. This is 2 for 1. 1 for 1, 0 for 0. Those are all fine. This is actively unloading, so now we're back to 1 for 1. Let's look at iron. Again, there's no stations being starved here, so I think that's okay. And then same with stone, and I guess we can just peek over here at the uranium. It is the case that we've now burned through some of the backlog of dull rocks that we had built up in our pre-Covarex days. So now we're sort of in a steady state. We can see we are able to keep up with all of the spent fuel cells here. So we don't have anything backing up here. So we're able to chew through everything that arrives, which is good stuff. We'll see if that continues to be the case, although we are grabbing all of these things, and this one's idle. So that's a good sign that we have more capacity here than we need. But we do, now that we don't have a backlog we're chewing through, we do actually have to produce dull rocks. And so we have a handful of centrifuges that are still working. This guy's almost empty. He's full of sulfuric acid, but I think this train has been sitting here like I think this one train has been sitting here, and I don't know that this is really true, but like you can see it unloads like very slowly. And we have another one waiting. So I think uranium, we're fine. If we come up here, look at the fuel cells, where are they? We've got the fuel cells are backed up, so we've got as much fuel as they can take. The fuel production here is full. I went ahead and beaconized these guys. I don't know that it was necessary, but this is one of those cases where, like, excess leads to success. We've got plenty of nuclear fuel for the trains. So I think the base has pretty much all the resources that it needs. And yeah, we're getting down to having like very few leftovers coming through, which is really what we want to see. When the labs are nearly fully busy, we don't. Well, in this case, the only thing that's really coming through is military science, but that's because we're not doing a research that requires it. But everything else is pretty much mostly getting used. I do think that eventually, over time, just because there are a couple of leftovers, it means that we don't quite consume 1350 off of the belts in most cases, but close enough, I think. And it does mean that technically we're slightly overproducing in most cases. Although I think there's a little gap right there. Look at that, a little gap from that guy on the green science. But yeah, this is all, I think, working pretty much at full capacity. Let's take a look at the production stats. Let's look at the last minute, I guess. Science, and we are consuming what I think is 1350 science per minute. If we look at 5 seconds, oh no, we don't get enough decimal places here. So it's a little hard to see. This is where you get more variability there. If we look across 10 minutes, okay, this is where we had the drop because we were messing around with the purple science. Fluids, but so we'll come back and look, but this is all looking pretty good up here. Pretty close to the 1350 if I sort of eyeball it, right? Like the line is maybe 3/4 of the way between 1.2 and 1.4. I'm going to believe that it is. So, but yeah, over a minute, we're doing that 1.3 something, which is really what we want to be seeing here as we continue to drain off the excess. And yes, here we are. I think we're now at steady state up here. So really very little leftover coming through, which is what we want to see. Actually, the labs are not fully saturated yet, so we're not quite at steady state yet, but we do seem to be trending in the right direction. Like fewer and fewer leftovers are coming through, which means more and more of the raw production is actually getting fed to the labs and consumed. So what is next? I think what I'm going to do next is we're going to do just a brief cutscene. I'm going to let this thing run for like an hour. That is I believe the Reddit Factorio community, or the Factorio subreddit, defines a megabase as over 1,000 signs per minute sustained for over an hour. So we definitely have hit the signs per minute target of 1350. We just want to see it run continuously. I think we're in good shape. I think we have enough resources that we can just do it. The defenses, I haven't done anything. I have not touched anything defensive in a long time. The flamethrowers and lasers, the lasers are pretty upgraded at this point. If we look at bonuses, we got laser damage here. Yeah, plus 720%. So really doing lots of damage. I did not, like I said, I did not upgrade the flame damage. That primarily is useful. Like if we come in here, dang, they repaired it already. It's crazy. But anyway, because we have not upgraded the flame damage, it means that we lose fewer repair robots to the flames, and so we really, don't have to send the outpost trains out very far. I think I've gotten this up to, how many outpost trains do we have now? I added a fourth one, so we got 2 out. We got 1 ready to go, 1 ready to refuel. Oh, there goes an artillery train. Hey, that's fun. Should watch it go deliver something. Have not done the artillery range increases. Again, doesn't seem to be a need for it. The main thing we're using the artillery for at this point is just preventing biter expansions to plunk so close to the walls that they have behemoth worms that are shooting the walls, but they're close enough to shoot the walls, but too far away we're probably just restocking this guy here. So he must have cleared something over in this area. Yeah, we just restocked. So he's gonna go back. Okay, well that was not as interesting as I thought it would be. Can we see some repair stuff happening? Man, they've repaired it already. So plenty of times, like, we're not even losing stuff. We've got 4 layers. They're not really getting through. Evolution is 0.9924, like that. Even as evolution continues, they're not really going to get much stronger. That will change the composition of how many of these things are, behemoth biters or not. Let's see if we can just see what that looks. See if I can catch it happening. Here we go. Here's a group. So, fair amount of green guys in there, right? The behemoths. Here, we can watch this in action. But, they're barely going to put a dent in here. The lasers pick them off pretty fast. And then you can see the repair bots come in pretty quickly. They even repair each other. So, like, that's it. Like, that's that's all that's really happening at the walls. And you can see it's auto-repaired, which is nice stuff. So, like I said, I'm going to do a cutscene. I'm going to let this run, and then we will wrap up the episode, I think, when we are back from that. Okay, we are back, and we have been running here pretty continuously. We can still see not having much leftovers. Labs are all pretty busy, which is all good stuff. We've got a steady stream of science coming in. I did find that it was useful to add some output buffers here like this. So what this is doing here is it says, I'm going to prioritize science that's produced here and put it onto the belt that goes to the labs. And so that's the output priority going there. But if there's any extra, I'm going to stick it in a chest. And then I'm going to take things in the chest. I'm going to use 2. We generally expect there to not be very much extra here, so a single stack inserter is okay here. But we use 2 stack inserters here. That guarantees that we can actually fully get a full half belt out of here. If we only have 1, then it turns out that 1 stack inserter leaves some gaps in a blue belt as it's going. So we have 2 output inserters so that we can drain things out of the buffer as quickly as possible. We can see this buffer is now fully full, 9.6, and that's generally because on average we're overproducing green science, for example. So I set these up for a bunch of different ones. And in particular, applied that down here to the rocket silo. So we have a couple of buffers here that are running. Again, I took one of the beacons out. We don't really need the beacons to go that fast. We actually have plenty of throughput here. So in particular, if we go to space science, and we change where's my rocket silo guy? If we change this instead of 20, if we change this to 19, because we took beacons out, we still, 2 rocket silos is enough. And in fact, as we'll see later, this is working fine. So this buffer really just serves to back this one up if this one's buffer sort of declines too far. So like if there's a gap in these launches, then this one fills in, and this one launches often enough. What we basically see here is that we'll see a launch here in a minute. So what happens here? The rocket is launching. We stop putting ingredients in. We fill these buffers of these chests. But they fill up again before the rocket launches, and then that will send some extra stuff up this way to then sort of prep this one for its background launch. So in particular, when this gets to 480 here in the buffers, it backs up. The output priority shows up. These are backed up, and so extra stuff comes up here. And then that's how this one gets the rocket parts to sort of build up its buffer. So that is working well. The one place especially that, oh, and by the way, somebody did point this out at one point that I think it was this big electric pole was actually blocking this belt here. And so we weren't actually fully producing the rocket part ingredients as fast as possible because we only had 17 and not 18 builds essentially. And in particular, I think that's why we ended up with extra rocket control units up top, because these circuits said, hey, I've got all the parts, I'm going to release them all, but only the rocket control units were going through. So that explains why those sort of backed up over time. What else? Okay, purple science ended up being the trickiest one to get going. This one has the least amount of extra throughput, and so there were a couple things here. So the buffers definitely helped smooth things out. Part of the problem is this one here, this output belt, is at the tail end. And there's some variance here. So on average, I think it's like we expect 2.5 of the purple science machines per row to be running. And so there's some up and down, especially because we have some shared ingredients. So for example, red circuits are used both by the speed modules as well as by the electric furnaces, and so we can definitely see that there's different amounts of those running at different times. Right here, electric furnaces are running, and up here, speed modules are running, and so there's a natural sort of up and down flux of these things, and that's where the buffers come in because they smooth it out. And in particular, the buffers allow for continued production, at least up until the point that the buffer is full, even if there's no room to sort of output them out here. And so as you can see, actually now we have been overproducing on average. Like there's a very slight, I want to say it's like, 7.99 versus 8. Like we need 7.99, but we have 8. So there is a net production surplus, which we can now see as having filled up these buffers. I originally had these on all of these, but I said, what, like I don't think it's necessary to go any deeper on this stuff because we've already smoothed out the production. So that was the trickiest one. The other thing that I had to do is to figure out how to get the petroleum gas balance in here. And so the thing that finally worked was that basically having a single pump coming, and we did change this, right? We rearranged the pump so that the pump comes immediately out of the tank. And then with that, then all of the plastic has petroleum gas coming to it, and we've got pretty full input pipes here. So we're back in action there on the purple science. What else? I think that's it. I did some tweaking of not these. Where I guess the space science. I did some tweaking on sort of the belt stuff here, just to be properly compressed on this stuff, and this is all working nicely now. I had to do something similar for steel here for purple science, but those are all working properly. And in fact, if we go and take a look at our production stats over an hour and we filter to science, we have a nice steady state of our, I'm going to assume this is 1.35 K per minute, or 1350 science per minute. That was our goal. We have been doing that completely steadily for the last hour, which is, I believe, as we said, that's our target for describing a megabase. So huge milestone for us. We managed to get ourselves all the way up to the megabase. Thanks to those of you who have followed along the whole way. I hope you found it interesting. It was nice to see that our overall plan for upgrading the base did actually work out. We did actually take this all the way from the beginning up to a megabase without having to do a lot of rearrangement of the base. So that was pretty nice result for us. Definitely, we did a lot of designs up front, which was helpful, right, to do that planning up front. We did definitely run into some things that we had to tweak. In particular, one of the things that I ran into, and where is that? I guess purple science, we could see it. So it turned out this area right here in our steel smelting design used to be a splitter, but it turned out that because we have you put things on the right side of the belt in the direction of travel, it turned out that we weren't actually getting output from all of the steel smelting by doing that. So I actually swapped those out for belts, and that actually works better for us. So I will go update the blueprints, the final blueprints here, to incorporate that. But otherwise, I don't think we really changed much of the designs that were in the blueprint books. So that's actually pretty, a couple minor things here and there. The other thing that I did update was, let's see, where's a better place to look at these? Maybe up here. So I did come and update these inserters. So I had originally taken the stack override limit off of these, but I found that it wasn't sort of like actually properly loading and balancing and streaming the resources out here the way that I wanted. And I went back and looked at our design session and actually realized that once we're at blue belts and stack inserters, that actually we had designed this and tested it with a stack override limit of 4. So these are grabbing 4 things at a time and putting them on the belt. And so that has actually worked better. you may notice there are some gaps here. That is actually okay. And that comes because there's a little bit of unevenness that happens here because these are fully lane balanced here, but we have productivity modules in here, which means that we're producing a full belt out on this side, but we're consuming a little less than a full belt over here. And so that's what all these gaps are for. They're from sort of doing the balance work, and you can see that they are actually spread out across the belts. So we're still unloading evenly. So that was actually something that was part of our design. When we upgraded these to the stack inserters and the blue belts, I did not actually apply the design correctly. So that's all been corrected. Let's see, final thing to check, a little over 8 gigawatts. Defenses are still holding up as we had seen previously. So this is pretty good. This is a pretty good outcome. I'm pretty happy with this. I'm going to end this episode here with our milestone. I think I may do one additional episode, which is just sort of a recap and sort of an overall base tour for us, in case there's anybody that doesn't want to wade through all 60 something episodes here. Just to see how we got here, we can get a more brief overview of the base and how it works and how it was designed. So I may do one more episode after this one, but again, thanks to everyone that has followed along. I'm pretty happy with this design. Hopefully the blueprints that have been provided here, I know some folks have been playing with them, so hopefully those are useful, interesting, instructive to all of you folks. And so that's what we have for this episode. So as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time, and until then, bye.